and it blends happily with other natural flavors. There are probably hundreds, maybe thousands of different ways we can enjoy chocolate in foods we buy at the store or make at home. When Milton Hershey built his factory, milk chocolate was a delicacy enjoyed primarily by the wealthy. But by developing his own special formulations and manufacturing techniques, he proved that milk chocolate could be made and shipped all over America at a price most people could afford. Choosing this site was no accident. Mr. Hershey knew that to mass-produce milk chocolate, he'd need milk, and lots of it. So this location was ideal. The rich dairy farms here could produce many thousands of gallons of fresh milk every day. That's still true. Every day, rain or shine, all year round, stainless steel tank trucks visit dairy farms in the region to pick up fresh, whole, grade A milk. Hershey buys the entire output of more than 1,000 farms, amounting to over 1 million pounds of milk a day. And we also find processing. The cane is squeezed and ground under tremendous pressure, releasing the juice, which is caught in troughs under the grinding wheels. The fibrous, woody waste is removed by a conveyor belt to help fuel the mill's boiler. Initial processing transforms the raw juice into a thick brown sugar syrup. In subsequent refining procedures, impurities and liquid are extracted to produce the white crystals of sugar we're all familiar with. Sometimes, within a few miles of the cane fields, other farmers are cultivating very delicate, very special trees, usually planted under taller varieties of trees to protect them from direct sunlight. These are cocoa trees, and their seeds are the basis of all cocoa and chocolate products. The seeds, called cocoa beans, grow within these pods, which are about 6 to 10 inches in length. The correct scientific name for this fruit is Theobroma cacao, which means food of the gods. These unusual trees thrive within 20 degrees of the equator and have a continuous growth cycle. The fruit seems to be attached haphazardly because the tiny blossoms grow directly from the trunk or main branches. Instead of working side by side, father and son efficiently strip the wet beans from the pods onto handy banana leaves. An expert worker can open 7 or 8 pods per minute, each one containing 30 to 40 cocoa beans, surrounded by a white pulp. Beasts of burden still play an important role in many cocoa-growing regions, as small farmers bring their beans to a central area for fermentation and drying. Here, payment is made by the box, a volume measurement that's equal to about 30 pounds of wet beans. The cocoa beans are then heaped into piles and allowed to ferment. Natural fermentation causes a chemical change in the pulp, which helps develop the color and flavor of the cocoa bean. It also hardens the skin of the bean into a protective shell, which will be removed later in the factory. The piles are covered with plantain or banana leaves to help contain the heat during the 5 to 6 day fermentation process. The fermented cocoa beans are then spread out to dry in the sun for 6 to 7 days. They are turned over regularly, and these drying platforms are built on tracks so that in the event of rain, they can be rolled under tin roofs for protection. The dried beans are less susceptible to disease and mold, and they are now ready incoming shipment for laboratory analysis. Carloads of beans arrive at the factory throughout the year from the world's great cocoa growing regions. Beans from Ghana and Nigeria, from Brazil and the Dominican Republic, from New Guinea and Malaysia, actually from more than a dozen different countries. And because each region produces a bean with its own distinctive flavor, each is delivered automatically from the rail siding to individual storage silos. The total capacity of this facility is 90 million pounds. And if you want to figure it out, you'll find that'll make a lot of chocolate bars. There's a constant flow of incoming ingredients, and acres of warehouse space are devoted to the storage of peanuts and almonds. Hershey uses huge quantities of almonds, some of them coming from the company's own groves in California. Peanuts arrive in even greater quantities. Thousands of tons a year from our southern and southwestern states pass through this warehouse to be used in a variety of products. In the research laboratories, this panel plays a significant role in determining how ingredients will be used. Which new product recipes will actually go into factory production? Being a member of the taste panel is an unusual job and a great responsibility, identifying and charting subtle differences in flavor, fragrance, texture. Of course, some formulations remain unchanged year after year, and the details of all of them are highly guarded secrets. Factory production schedules determine the quantities of specific ingredients that will be drawn from storage on any given day. Since 5 or 6 different types of chocolate may be in production at the same time, scheduling the flow of cocoa beans is especially complex liquor. However, back before Milton Hershey went into business, it was discovered that chocolate beverages tasted better when the cocoa butter content of the liquor was reduced. So, in making cocoa and cocoa products today, these giant presses squeeze most of the cocoa butter out of the liquor. The butter is drained away and will be used in the making of milk chocolate. The dry cake that remains after the butter is squeezed out is pure cocoa. So the basic difference between cocoa and chocolate is the amount of cocoa butter present. The cake goes through several grinding and refining processes until it's ready for packaging as pure cocoa, or is blended with other ingredients. In another section of the factory, whole milk is being condensed, the first of many complex procedures in the making of milk chocolate. When almost all of the water content has been removed, and the milk has reached the consistency of taffy, chocolate liquor and sugar are added, and the mixture looks good enough to eat right now. However, many more steps lie ahead. The mixture gets drier and drier until finally it is back and forth or reciprocating action, large granite rollers rub the paste over a corrugated granite base. After 72 hours of conching, this chocolate has bar is being molded. The nuts are deposited in the molds before the chocolate. Solid chocolate bars, liquid syrups, and powdered cocos require different types of containers in a wide variety of sizes. Paper and cardboard and tin and steel must be cut, shaped, filled, sealed. So, with complex machines and materials handling systems in operation all over the factory, it's a wild and wonderful scene. As much fun to watch as it is to eat the products themselves. Well, almost. Before any product leaves the factory, it and its ingredients have been checked, tested, analyzed, and scrutinized every step of the way. In the quality assurance laboratories, experts in nutrition, food science, and microbiology are guided by the Product Excellence Program. They maintain standards that are stricter, more comprehensive than those imposed by government agencies. And their efforts assure consumers that they'll get the quality and quantity they expect. The company maintains a staff of field representatives to inspect each farm on a regular basis, and the milk haulers conduct a series of quality checks too. Every time a milk hauler visits a farm, he takes what's called a universal sample, which will go to the lab for testing. The receiving station at the factory is open 24 hours a day, and the trucks are thoroughly scrubbed and sanitized after each delivery. The universal sample from each farm is brought immediately to the milk receiving laboratory. Here, tests for bacteria count and butterfat content are among the many conducted in a continuous, tightly controlled quality assurance program. There's a lot of good, rich farmland around Hershey, Pennsylvania, and there are a lot of independent farmers working the same fields their grandfathers did. This is Pennsylvania Dutch country. Tradition is important here, And in some ways, things haven't changed much since the turn of the century. The 80 and provides complete patient care while maintaining extensive research and educational programs. But Hershey isn't all classrooms and laboratories. Hershey Park is a happy experience for every member of the family. Owned and operated by Herco, another company Milton S. Hershey founded, Hershey Park is one of the major theme parks in the East. Holiday Magazine called it the cleanest and greenest in America. The arena next door is the home of the Hershey Bears of the American Hockey League. And there's some headline event going on in town almost every night. In sports, theater, music, and dance, the people around here are accustomed to seeing big names from Hollywood, New York, Nashville, as well as touring foreign performers. The little rural community of Hershey attracts nearly 2 million visitors every year. Many come to see the formal rose gardens. And those who enjoy golf will find there's more